Let's see here. A question came up about a spring. So let's check this out very quickly. So I'm going to create a helix, create a very basic spring here. So create spring, spring is sprung. All right, helix. There we are. And let me do this. Coils, something like that. All right, so instead of using the wire tool, I'm almost wondering maybe it's better if we use the other wire tool, which disappears right away if you don't get to it, right when you open Maya. It's the curve warp tool. I'm going to add that to my shelf. Actually, I'm going to tear this menu off because I know as soon as I close it, this will be gone. As a bug, I don't know why it happens, but it disappears. So it's this curve warp. If it does disappear, you'll have to reopen Maya. I'm going to go under Create, Curve Tools, CV Curve Tool, and I'm going to create my curve here. So let's see, I think I'm on, is it linear? Is that a linear curve? No, it's not. I'm just going to create a linear curve, so create curves. Just because I just want to have a perfectly divided curve. So I'm just going to create 1 point here, 1 point here, and then I'm just going to go under, so it's just a 2-point curve. I'm going to go under curves. Where are you here? Curves, rebuild. And I'll just build it as a cubic curve with you know, a number of spans that I can manipulate easily, like 4 is probably fine actually. And just make sure my curve's selected and apply. All right, so I've got a curve, I've got a number of points on that curve. And then what I'm going to do is go in and control that spring. So let's see here. Using the curve warp. There we are. So now my curve is on there. I mean, my CV is on there. So I should still be able to go in and control, let's see here, control the overall springiness of that. Let's see, I've got some controls on here still. Oh, I have a good idea. This will be awesome. I have an idea. But first things first, height. Yeah, so I can still go in and modify the height of that. That's neat. And I can also go in and into the curve, and I could modify this as well. That looks, it's not too bad. You know, it is losing volume a little bit, but for this, you know, I'm sure it's fine. So it's not too bad. I don't think your spring's that thick, so it should be okay, I think. And then what I can do is I could control. So let me do something kind of creative here. I'm going to create 2 cubes. So this will be kind of the end of the dog here, because you have the dog, right? So I got the 2 ends, all right? And I got this in the middle. Let me just make sure it's 90 degrees. There we are. And on this curve, we've got a couple points here. So we got these points. So I was setting something up with Kelly the other day where we have this kind of setup where I can control one end, or I can control the other end, and then everything else just kind of follows equally in between those 2 points. But I can still then go in and then just modify everything else in between. So to do this, I'm going to create a couple clusters here. So to form, I got this cluster. There's 1, 2, and then these ones in the middle will get a cluster each. 3. All right. And then these clusters, I've got these 5 cluster groups here, which I should probably just order a little bit better. So 1, 2. It's a good idea to label these. That's the end. And this is the middle one. All right, so you should probably label them. I'm not going to go through it, but I've got them in order here. I'm also going to go in and group them twice. Once, twice, once, twice, once, twice, once, twice. And again, we would have our connect node and orient node, and then you would have your cluster. If we needed a control, we would have the cluster is like a joint. So we would have the control curve on top. So I might just create 3 control curves for now, just so that we have them there. So curves. So there's 1. 90 degrees. Bear with me here. So there's 1. And that's going to go under this group, which is right here. So again, we have our connect, orient, and then we have the control. Before I parent anything to it, I'll need to freeze trans, delete history, all that stuff. I'm going to duplicate it out twice. And then these duplicates I'm going to connect to the corresponding other 2 clusters. So let's see here. So this is going to go under this group. And that cluster goes under that. And this one goes here. All right, so I've got these groups here. So basically, these controls control the individual cluster components. And then these will eventually, stupid me, I put that under the wrong one. These will control the different pieces. So I think that's right. That's right. Oh, this one. Yeah, so let me just put that here. All right. And that's right here. Oh, what's going on? Stupid thing. Maybe it's not viable after all. Look, it's collapsing in on itself. Do you think that's just a display issue, or do you think that's something that's going to always be collapsing? Maybe. I feel like it's messed up. I think it's messed up. Yeah. Maybe not a viable option after all. Does this one mess it up? No, it's just this one that messes it up. Well, that's unfortunate. I wonder why that is. That's messing everything up there. We can still make it work. We can still make it work. So I'm going to still use this kind of, but not 100% like this. But for now, what I'm going to do is, let me do this. I'm going to just extract a curve, and I think we've done this before. So let me just extract a curve here. So modify, convert poly edge to curve. There we are. We'll just rebuild some new geometry after. That will work perfectly. So let me just hide this. There's the curve. I'm just going to delete that. All right. And what I'm going to do with this curve is, again, I'm going to use the curve warp. What's the warning it's giving me? Oh, I can't deform a curve with the curve warp? That's irritating. All right, I'm not going to delete the other geometry, I'm just going to hide it. So let me undo until it comes back. There it is. I'm going to hide it. So let's see, does this mess up that curve when it does? Oh, for Pete's sake. Well, that's going to be completely useless then, huh? Well, that's the That's the question of the times, isn't it? Why does that happen? Because it's Maya? Because it's Maya. You know what? We can make it work. I'm going to delete that after all. And I'll just use a wire tool. I was hoping that because it's a wire deforming a wire, it should be okay, I think. So, so let me do this. So I'm going to select the deformer. So wire. So I'm going to select the deforming object first and then the deformer last and hit enter. There we go. And now if I select this control, it should work. I noticed I didn't freeze transformations though on these two guys. So let me see if I can do it without affecting anything. I think it might break though. But oh, there we go. We're good. All right. All right. Cool. So again, let me just do that and go under the wire and just change my drop-off distance. There we go. So this should be good now. This should be good. All right, so that's good. All right. So what I want to do though is I want to control the springiness of it. So we've got these 5 clusters here. So we can basically create a series of constraints that will allow us to kind of basically control the position of these individual controls in the middle. First thing I want to do though is just parent in my first shape. That goes to this control or this object. Let's pretend that's a control. So I'll just parent that there. And then the end one is going to go to this control here, so P. All right, so the way this works is that we select the cluster here and the cluster here. And then we're going to select the connect node on the middle guy right here. So that is this one right here. We're going to go constrain, parent, option box. And we're going to do a parent constrain. And I'm going to turn this off, the maintain offset. It might shift slightly or a lot. Don't do that. Oh, because my pivot's way down here. That doesn't help. Let's do this again. Apply. And it does shift a little bit. You know what, let's do maintain offset. There we go. Next thing I'm gonna do is select this control and this cluster. And then the connect node for this guy, which is right there, and apply that. And then this control, this cluster, and then the connect node for this guy right here, and apply the constraint. So let's see if this works with the maintain offset. So we've got this thing happening now. So it's going to, within reason, it's going to compress and expand. And then we also have this guy right here that we can go in and modify in between. So as long as those are connected, I should be able to kind of get a whole bunch of different shapes out of that and get some nice kind of deformations within reason. And I still have these controls here. I can go in and modify a little bit as well on either side of that control. Now, to get geometry back though, because we have no geometry, we just have a curve, what we'll do is we'll just have to generate a surface from here. And we can do that one of 2 ways. I could create a circle. So create a circle, snap that circle to the end of my curve here. Which is the end? That's not the end. The end, just if you remember, has the square, so that's the starting point. So I'm just going to snap it to the starting point. Close. I'm almost there. There's a gazillion points. There we go. Got it. And I'm just going to angle it just a smidge. There we go. Scale it down. That's way too big. And let's see if this works. It won't work. This won't work because I'm going to have to delete history on it. It'll work. It'll work. All right, so this will work. All right, maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this curve, and we're going to do a surfaces, extrude, option box. We're going to make polygons out of that and apply. Let me see, general, let me see, quads, general, and apply. Perfect. We're done. Perfect spring. So if you remember from last half, we want to increase my number of U, not that much though, maybe 8. And our number in V, so let's go 200. And we want to also make sure it's set to @path. So right now it's extrude type. Let me see, at fixed path on. There we go. All right. Now, unfortunately, this isn't going to work 100% because of that this connection here. That's going to cause some problems for us. So what I need to do is use I'm going to delete history on this. So edit, delete by type history, and I'm going to use the curve as a wire. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to select this. And I'm going to create one more wire tool. So deform, wire. There we are. Might have to increase my search distance a little bit. Let's see if that works now. So I'm going to select this. Oh, I didn't attach the wire. Oh yeah, I didn't do it right. Sorry, my bad. Let's do it again. So deform wire. Just make sure nothing's selected. Wire. Select the geometry first, hit enter. Select the curve second, hit enter. There we go. Now let's see if it works now. Ooh, that's looking nice. That looks good. And then what happens when we got our little dog? It's gonna be walking around, and then this side's gonna catch up. And then we've got the little kind of bendiness in between. That's awesome. And then when he falls into a punch bowl, so this side's going to come up, and we're not going to get any kind of weird crunching in the geometry. Nope, everything should be perfect. Yeah, there we go. Oh, stop it! I wasn't expecting that. Cool, and that all works. So you get like this nice kind of angling of your controls as well, and then each control so you get nice S shapes and stuff like that. And so what I'll do is I'll save this file off. You can check it out, and it'll be on the recording as well. So, I paused. Just kidding. It's on the recording. So, all right. So, all right. So save scene as. I'll put it into the student help folder. But let me just save it locally first on my desktop. Call it Spring. All right. So this stuff doesn't get put into any kind of hierarchy. That would just go directly under the character group, or usually or under the rig group, but it wouldn't get parented to anything else because it's connected through the constraints. You don't want to get a double transformation on that stuff. So you just got to be careful with how that gets connected in. So I'm going to stop the recording.